You step into the teleporter. The door closes. You are alone in a white chamber, but a voice informs you the scan will begin. You feel nothing. Perhaps a slight tingling. Perhaps just your imagination. The scan completes. The voice tells you that your molecular structure has been recorded. Every atom, every electron, every quantum state. The information is being transmitted to Mars. On Mars, a machine is assembling a body from local matter, atom by atom, exactly matching the scan. Your body, your brain, your memories. Perfect down to the quantum level. The voice asks if you are ready. You nod, or maybe you do not. Either way, the next step happens automatically. Your body in the Earth chamber is disintegrated. Painlessly. Instantly. Every atom separated and reduced to energy. You cease to exist on Earth. On Mars, the reconstruction completes. A person opens their eyes. They have all your memories. They remember stepping into the teleporter on Earth. They believe they just teleported to Mars. They are convinced they are you. Are they? Did you just travel to Mars? Or did you die on Earth, and a copy of you woke up on Mars thinking they survived? Here is what makes this question genuinely disturbing. The person on Mars is physically identical to you, psychologically identical. They have continuity of memory. They feel like themselves. They would insist they are you. Everyone who knows you would treat them as you. Every test would confirm they are you. But you were destroyed, turned into energy. You experienced disintegration. From your subjective perspective, did consciousness continue? Or did it end forever, while a new consciousness, identical but separate, began on Mars? This is the teleportation paradox, one of philosophy's most uncomfortable thought experiments. Because unlike most philosophical puzzles, this one might actually matter. Teleportation might be physically possible. Upload of consciousness to computers might be feasible. These are not just abstract questions. They might be choices your descendants face. Would you step into the teleporter? Would you allow your mind to be uploaded to a machine? Would you trust that the you that emerges is actually you and not a copy who thinks they are you? Before you answer, we need to understand what the question is really asking. Because this is not just about teleportation. This is about identity, consciousness, what makes you you, and whether any version of you can survive your own destruction. Welcome to philosophy's most personal nightmare. The teleportation paradox was popularized by philosopher Derek Parfit in his 1984 book Reasons and Persons, though versions of it had been discussed earlier. Parfit was interested in identity, specifically personal identity. What makes you the same person from moment to moment? From birth to death, common sense says this is obvious. You are you because you have continuity. Your body persists. Your brain persists. Your memories connect past to present. You have a continuous stream of consciousness. You are a unified self moving through time. Parfit argued this common sense view is wrong, or at least deeply confused. And teleportation is one of his thought experiments designed to make this clear. Let us set up the scenario more carefully. You have a teleporter. It works through destructive scanning. The machine scans your body, recording the exact position and quantum state of every particle. This information is transmitted at light speed to the destination. There, a replicator rebuilds you from local atoms, matching the scan exactly. The original body is destroyed as part of the scanning process. From an outside observer's perspective, this looks like teleportation. You disappear from Earth. You appear on Mars. Everyone treats it as travel. The person who arrives on Mars has all your memories, personality, relationships. They continue your life. They fulfill your commitments. They love the people you loved. They are you in every measurable way. But from your subjective first-person perspective, what happened? This is where intuitions diverge sharply. Point 1. Intuition. You traveled. Your pattern was transmitted and reconstructed. You are the pattern, not the matter. The specific atoms do not matter. What matters is the information, the organization. You were reorganized in a new location. You survived. You are on Mars. Another intuition. You died. You were destroyed. Your consciousness ended. Yes, a copy of you woke up on Mars. But it is a copy. A new person who thinks they are you. You are dead. You never made it to Mars. You experience disintegration and then nothing. Both intuitions feel compelling. Both seem to capture something true. But they cannot both be right. Either you survived or you did not. Either the person on Mars is you or they are not. This is not just a semantic question. If teleportation kills you and creates a copy, then stepping into a teleporter is suicide followed by reproduction. If it genuinely transfers you, then it is travel. The difference matters. Practically and morally. If teleportation is suicide, then it should probably be illegal or at least treated with extreme caution. If it is travel, then it is just a really fast transportation method. How we answer determines whether a world with teleportation is a world where people commute to Mars or a world where people send copies of themselves to Mars while dying on Earth. Parfit's interest in this was not primarily about teleportation as technology. It was about what the thought experiment reveals about identity. Because if you cannot confidently say whether you survive teleportation, maybe you do not actually understand what you are. Maybe identity is not what you think it is. Subscribe if you're ready to question whether you are the same person who started reading this sentence. Because we are about to take apart every theory of personal identity and see if any survive the teleportation paradox. Let us examine the main theories of personal identity and see how they handle teleportation. Theory 1. Physical continuity. You are your body. Specifically, your brain. Identity requires physical continuity of the biological substrate. You are you because you have the same brain you had yesterday, the same neurons, the same physical matter. Under this theory, teleportation is death. Your brain is destroyed on Earth. A new brain is created on Mars. Even though the new brain is identical in structure and content, it is made of different atoms, different physical matter. The physical continuity is broken. You died. The person on Mars is a copy, not you. This theory has intuitive appeal. We identify people by their bodies. If someone destroys your brain and builds a replica, even a perfect one, most people would say you died and a duplicate was made, but physical continuity has problems. Your body is constantly replacing cells. Every few years, most of your body's atoms are replaced through normal biological processes. Are you a different person than you were 7 years ago? If you're not the same atoms, why are you the same person? The usual response is that what matters is continuity of process, not identity of atoms. Your cells are replaced gradually, one at a time, while the overall structure persists. There is no moment of discontinuity. You fade gradually from old atoms to new atoms, but the pattern persists throughout. Teleportation breaks this gradual replacement. It destroys everything at once and rebuilds from scratch. The continuity of process is violated. So, physical continuity theory says teleportation kills you. Theory 2. Psychological continuity. You are your mind, not your body. What makes you you is your memories, personality, beliefs, desires, psychological characteristics. As long as these are preserved, you survive regardless of what happens to the physical substrate. Under this theory, teleportation is survival. The person on Mars has all your memories, personality, psychological traits. They remember being you. They have continuity of consciousness from your perspective. Therefore, they are you. The destruction and recreation of the physical body is irrelevant. Mind is what matters, and the mind was transferred. This theory also has intuitive appeal. We imagine surviving in very different bodies. We tell stories about body swapping or mind uploading. The idea that you are your psychology, not your biology, feels modern and scientifically sophisticated, but psychological continuity has problems too. What counts as sufficient psychological continuity? If the teleporter makes a small error and you arrive on Mars with slightly different memories or personality, do you survive? How much change is too much? People change psychologically over time. Are you the same person you were at age 5? You have almost no memories from that age. Your personality is completely different. Yet we say it is the same person. More troubling, psychological continuity does not solve the copy problem. Suppose the teleporter malfunctions. It creates the copy on Mars but fails to destroy the original on Earth. Now there are two people with equal claim to being you. Both have psychological continuity from your perspective. Both remember being you. Both believe they are you, but they cannot both be you. They are separate people with separate futures. So which is the real you? Or are neither of them you? Or were you split somehow? Theory 3, the closest continuer theory. This is Parfit's partial solution. You survive as whoever is your closest continuer. If there is one person with strong psychological and physical continuity to you, they are you. If there are two equally close continuers, then neither is you. Identity is determined by uniqueness of continuation. Under this theory, normal teleportation where the original is destroyed creates one close continuer on Mars. That person is you. You survived. But if the malfunction creates two continuers, then identity is not preserved. You somehow cease to exist and split into two different people. This theory has the advantage of handling both normal and branching cases. But it has a deeply weird implication. Whether you survive depends on whether a copy exists. If the Earth version is destroyed, the Mars version is you. If the Earth version is not destroyed, suddenly the Mars version is not you anymore. Your identity is determined by what happens to someone else. This seems wrong. Whether you are you should not depend on whether a duplicate exists elsewhere. Theory 4, no self theory. Perhaps there is no persistent self at all. You are not actually the same person from moment to moment. Identity is an illusion. What we call a person is just a series of momentary experiences connected by memory and causation. There is no deeper fact about whether you survive teleportation because there is no you to survive. There are just experiences happening in sequence. Under this theory, teleportation is no different from normal life. You are constantly being destroyed and recreated moment to moment. Your current experience is not the same entity as your experience 1 second ago. They are just closely connected. Teleportation makes the gap bigger, but it does not introduce a fundamentally new problem. This theory dissolves the paradox, but at a high cost. It requires abandoning the intuition that you are a persisting entity. Most people are not willing to accept that they do not really exist. If this exploration of identity theories is making you uncertain about whether you are even you, leave a like. Because we are about to make it worse with variations of the paradox that break even the most confident intuitions. Let us introduce some variations that make the paradox even more disturbing. Variation 1, the slow teleporter. Instead of destroying you all at once, the teleporter works gradually. It scans and disintegrates one neuron at a time, transmitting the information and rebuilding it on Mars. The process takes an hour. Throughout that hour, you remain conscious. You experience your brain being slowly transferred from Earth to Mars, neuron by neuron. At what point do you stop being on Earth and start being on Mars? When half your brain is on each location, where are you? Are you simultaneously in both places? Or does consciousness somehow jump locations at some threshold? And if consciousness can jump, why does gradual transfer feel safer than instant destruction? This variation reveals that our intuition about instant teleportation being death might be inconsistent. A gradual transfer allows survival. Why does instant transfer not? Is it just that we need continuity of consciousness during the process? But consciousness is not continuous normally. You lose consciousness every night when you sleep. You survive that. Variation 2, the branching teleporter. The teleporter creates the copy on Mars, but fails to destroy the original on Earth. You step out of the teleporter on Earth confused. You learn that the transmission succeeded. There is a copy of you on Mars who believe they teleported successfully. Are you the real you? Is the Mars version the real you? Are you both equally real? What happened to your identity? Here is what makes this disturbing. Before you learn about the malfunction, you expected to wake up on Mars. Your subjective experience would be, I stepped into the teleporter on Earth. I woke up on Mars. I am now on Mars. But you woke up on Earth instead. Does this mean normal teleportation, where the original is destroyed, always feels successful to the copy even though the original died? The Mars version has the expected experience. They believe they survived teleportation. They feel like themselves. They would insist they are you. But you are still on Earth. So clearly, having the right memories and feelings is not sufficient to guarantee you actually survived. Variation 3, the preview teleporter. Before disintegrating you, the teleporter shows you a video feed from Mars. You watch your copy wake up. You watch them check their memories, confirm their identity, step out of the machine believing they teleported successfully. Then the voice asks if you are ready to be disintegrated. Now that you have seen your copy exists and functions perfectly, are you willing to be destroyed? Most people's intuition here is, absolutely not. Seeing the copy exist independently makes it clear that destroying the original is killing someone. The copy is not you. They are a separate person who happens to be identical. Killing yourself so they can continue is suicide, not transportation, but logically, nothing has changed. The copy would exist and believe they are you whether you watch them first or not. The preview just makes the horror explicit. Variation for the quantum teleporter. This version does not destroy you. It measures your quantum state, transmits it, and creates a copy on Mars. But quantum mechanics says perfect copying is impossible without destroying the original. The no-cloning theorem. You cannot have two identical quantum states. So even if the teleporter tries to preserve both, quantum mechanics forces one to be destroyed. Does this change anything? If physics requires destruction of the original for the copy to be perfect, does that mean the copy is somehow more you? Or does it just mean quantum mechanics prevents perfect duplication, so what arrives on Mars is always slightly different from what left Earth? Variation 5, gradual replacement. Suppose instead of teleporting, you undergo gradual cyborgization. One neuron at a time is replaced with a functionally identical artificial neuron. The process takes years. At each step, you remain conscious. Your memories and personality persist. The artificial neurons function exactly like biological ones. After 10 years, your entire brain has been replaced. Not a single original neuron remains. Are you still you? Most people say yes. This feels like survival because continuity of consciousness was maintained. But if gradual replacement preserves identity, why does instant replacement not? Is it just the time scale? Is it the continuity of conscious experience? What is the principal difference between gradual replacement and instant destruction and reconstruction? Variation 6, the upload. You are terminally ill. A company offers to scan your brain in perfect detail and run a simulation of your mind on a computer. The simulation will have all your memories and personality. It will believe it is you. It can interact with the world through virtual reality or robots. It will effectively continue your life after your biological death. Do you survive as the simulation? Is the digital you actually you? Or is it a copy that thinks it is you while the real you dies in a hospital? And if you are uncertain whether the simulation is you, what about right now? How do you know you are not already a simulation? If a perfect simulation is subjectively indistinguishable from biological consciousness, you cannot tell from the inside whether you are the original or a copy. These variations reveal something uncomfortable. Our intuitions about identity and survival are not coherent. Different framings of essentially the same scenario produce different intuitions. We are not working from a consistent theory of self. We are pattern matching to familiar situations and getting confused when the patterns break down. Let us examine what is actually at stake in the teleportation paradox. On the surface, it is about whether you would step into a teleporter. But deeper, it is about consciousness, subjective experience, and the nature of death. Here is the core question. What does it mean for you to survive? Not for your body to survive. Not for your memories to survive. Not for someone with your personality to survive. For you specifically, the experiencing subject, to continue existing. Materialist philosophy says consciousness is produced by brain activity. Your subjective experience is the result of neurons firing in particular patterns. If this is true, then perfectly replicating the pattern should replicate the consciousness. The person on Mars should have the same subjective experience continuing that you had. They should be you in the only sense that matters. But there is a gap in this logic. Even if consciousness is produced by brain patterns, it does not follow that the same pattern in different matter produces the same consciousness. Maybe each instance of the pattern produces a separate consciousness. The Mars brain produces a consciousness that is qualitatively identical to yours but numerically distinct. Like two identical paintings are separate objects, even if they are molecule for molecule identical. This is the problem of hexeity. The question of what makes a particular thing that particular thing, rather than a duplicate. Two identical electrons are not the same electron. They are two electrons that happen to have identical properties. Are two identical conscious experiences the same experience or two experiences? If they are two experiences, then teleportation is death. You have one stream of consciousness. It ends when you are destroyed. A new stream begins on Mars. That stream has memories of being you and believes it is continuous with your experience. But it is not. It is a new consciousness that inherits your memories. From the outside, this is undetectable. The Mars person acts exactly like you would. But from the inside, you are dead. This leads to the horrifying possibility that teleportation is ubiquitous murder. Millions of people might be stepping into teleporters, experiencing death, while copies of them emerge at destinations believing they survived. The copies have no way of knowing they are copies. They have memories of deciding to teleport and then arriving. The subjective experience is seamless, but if each teleportation ends one consciousness and starts another, then humanity would be constantly killing and replacing itself. People would be commuting to work by dying and having copies made, and no one would know. The copies cannot tell they are copies. There is no test that could distinguish genuine continuation of consciousness from perfect replication with false memory of continuation. This connects to the philosophical zombie problem. Can you have a being that acts conscious, talks about consciousness, claims to be conscious, but actually has no subjective experience? No inner life? Just behavior? Most philosophers say no. If something acts conscious in every way, it is conscious. Behavior is all there is. But the teleportation paradox suggests otherwise. The Mars copy behaves exactly like someone whose consciousness continued. But maybe their consciousness just started and they inherited memories that make them think they have history. How would you know you're not in that situation right now? How do you know your memories are real and not implanted? How do you know your consciousness did not start 5 minutes ago with false memories of a lifetime? You cannot know. This is the epistemological nightmare at the heart of the paradox. Not only can we not determine whether teleportation preserves identity, we cannot determine whether our identity is preserved moment to moment in normal life. Maybe you die every time you go to sleep. A new consciousness wakes up in the morning with your memories. Maybe you die every time you blink. Maybe personal identity is completely illusory, and there is just a sequence of momentary selves, each inheriting memories from the previous one but none actually the same entity. This is where Parfit ended up. He concluded that identity does not matter. What matters is psychological connectedness and continuity. As long as future people have appropriate connections to you, that is what survival means. It does not matter whether they are metaphysically the same self. The metaphysical question is either meaningless or unanswerable or unimportant, but most people are not satisfied with this. Most people have a strong intuition that they exist, they persist, they are the same person from moment to moment. And most people would not step into a teleporter that destroys them, even if it creates a perfect copy. The metaphysical question feels important even if it is unanswerable. So would you step into the teleporter? After everything we have explored, the question is probably more unsettling than when we started. Because we have not found an answer. We have found that every potential answer has serious problems. If you say the Mars person is you because they have psychological continuity, then you have to accept that identity can branch. That there could be multiple use. That whether you survive depends on whether copies are made. If you say the Mars person is not you because physical continuity is broken, then you have to explain why gradual atom replacement preserves identity, but instant replacement does not. And you have to accept that you might not survive ordinary life processes where your body's matter is constantly replaced. If you say there is no fact to the matter because identity is illusory, then you have abandoned the common sense view that you are a persisting self, which is philosophically defensible but psychologically difficult. The teleportation paradox reveals that our concept of personal identity is confused. We have intuitions that pull in different directions. We have no coherent theory that captures everything we want identity to do. But here is what makes this more than an academic puzzle. This might matter practically. Technology is moving toward mind uploading, brain-computer interfaces, and possibly teleportation through quantum entanglement. These are not certain, but they are conceivable. And if they become possible, we will face the question, does this preserve identity or just create copies? How we answer determines whether these technologies are life extension or elaborate suicide. Whether uploading your mind to escape death is immortality, or just creating a duplicate while you die. Whether teleportation is transportation or murder followed by replacement, we cannot answer these questions definitively. But we can think about them clearly. We can recognize the depth of the problem. We can understand that identity might not be what we think it is. Here is my personal take for what it is worth. I would not step into a destructive teleporter. Not because I am certain it would kill me, but because I am uncertain enough that the risk is not worth it. The person on Mars would be very similar to me. They would continue my relationships and projects. They would believe they survived. But I cannot shake the intuition that their consciousness would be separate from mine, that I would experience destruction while they experience arrival. And I do not want to experience destruction when I undergo gradual mind uploading, 1 neuron at a time replaced with artificial substrate while I remain conscious. Probably. That feels more like genuine continuation. Though I acknowledge this might be inconsistent. If instant replacement kills me, maybe slow replacement just kills me slowly. Would I create a backup copy of my mind without destroying the original? Definitely. That seems clearly beneficial. I would have a spare. If the original dies, the copy continues my life. But I would not consider the copy to be me. They would be someone else with my memories. A sibling, not a continuation. These are my intuitions. Yours might differ. And there is no objective fact that makes one set of intuitions correct. Share this if you have ever wondered whether you are the same person you were yesterday. Because the teleportation paradox suggests you might not be. And we might never know for certain. Welcome to the Thoughtborne, where we explore questions that do not have comfortable answers. Not because we enjoy confusion, but because some of philosophy's deepest questions resist resolution. And the teleportation paradox is one of them. You might not be who you think you are. You might not be anyone at all. Or you might be you in a way that makes teleportation impossible. Or you might be you in a way that makes teleportation perfectly safe. We do not know. And that uncertainty might define the future of human consciousness. If a machine scans you, destroys you, and rebuilds you elsewhere, did you travel or did you die? After 25 minutes, you are probably no closer to an answer. But at least now you understand why the question is so difficult and why it matters.